A sweet and innocent young woman whose love for her boyfriend leads her to agree to work in a brothel supposedly for 2 weeks. What she didn't expect is that this forbidden world would awaken something in her that would change her life completely. What begins as a sacrifice for love, soon becomes a journey into the unknown. We meet Mimo, a charming woman, and also her boyfriend Nino. He tells her that he needs help with his financial problems. He very shamelessly offers her an unusual job. It turns out that the job is in a brothel, a place where the girls are in the customer service business. Mimo accepts. She is impressed and confused. Additionally, she is surprised by the welcome tour that the boss of the place gives her. She showers Mimo with compliments, telling him that he has the body of a goddess, a dream face and very soft hands. After increasing his self-esteem, she proceeds to show him around the place, showing him the rest area and the customer service rooms. Then Madame Colette takes Mimo to her new room, a rather ugly room. She tells her that the most important thing is cleanliness, and she doesn't mean keeping the place shiny. She means that she must clean the clients before the meetings. Then she takes her to the dining room to meet her new colleagues. Mimo discovers that each girl has a stage name as if they were glamorous superheroes. Madame Colette tells her that her new name will be Paprika, and Mimo loves it. She loved the idea of being known as an exotic species. Later Mimo is taken to the infirmary where the doctor examines her. When he sees her, the doctor asks her what she is doing there, because she is clearly too young and pretty to be in the customer service business. She explains that she is there for family problems, but the doctor has already heard the same story several times. He tells her to tell him the truth. Mimo confesses that she wants to help her boyfriend get money to open his own business and that it will only be 15 days and then she and her boyfriend are going to get married. Time passes and finally Paprika has her first client. The man is called Franco. He is fascinated by Paprika's body and beauty. She begins to treat him as if he were a luxury toy. After the encounter, Paprika realizes that she liked him and enjoyed him. Madame tells her that she must control her emotions and that she seemed happier than the client. Madame Colette tells her that she must think ugly things and that she must not allow herself to fall in love with the client. As time goes by, Paprika becomes a professional and earns more money every day. One day she realizes that the girls also join each other after work. At first Paprika thought it was a strange ritual, but she ends up pleasing him. The next day Madame Colette calls her to her office and greets her with a toy to have fun with. While the two chat, Colette already knows about Paprika's adventures with her colleagues. Madame feels encouraged to propose something to her, so between chatting and flirting they end up tangled up experimenting with the toy. Later we see Paprika with Franco. He returned in search of Paprika. Although she has perfected her skills and has control of her profession, however, when she is with him her emotions get out of control. After the meeting, Paprika tells Franco that she is free the next day. The next day Franco invites her to dinner. Paprika rejects the invitation and tells him that she has plans with her boyfriend Nino. However, she receives a call. Nino tells her that he will not be able to meet her because he is in a work meeting. Paprika takes the opportunity and accepts the invitation. Franco tells Paprika that he only has 1 month left to finish his training as a sailor and that then he will embark on adventures at sea, but the drama breaks out when Paprika sees her boyfriend Nino in the restaurant accompanied by another woman. She confronts Nino and discovers that they have been cheating on her for 3 years and he was only looking to take financial advantage of her. Paprika, devastated, can do nothing but cry, and Franco, seeing her anguish, becomes her prince and comforts her, and it all ends in a night of passion. The next morning Franco, with his romance at its peak, proposes to Paprika. However, although she knows Franco is a good man, she is not willing to risk another disappointment and decides that she is not ready to trust anyone else. Paprika decides to continue working, so she returns to the brothel, and while she is chatting with Madame Colette, her ex-boyfriend Nino enters the place and demands half of Paprika's earnings, claiming that he got her the job and that all the money is rightfully hers. Paprika tells Madame Colette and she tells her not to worry and that she has everything under control. Days later a man named Rocco shows up at the place. He is the manager of one of the girls and he is furious because he has not seen a single cent from her. So in an act of cowardice he beats the woman up before leaving the place. Paprika, seeing all this, is scared and tells Madame Colette that she is afraid that Nino might come back and do the same thing to her. Paprika decides that it is time to pack her bags and moves to another city to work in a club recommended by one of her friends. On her trip she meets Rocco, the same man who beat up her partner. Rocco also recognizes her and decides that it is the perfect time for a little private session in the wagon. Paprika had to please him, and after this Rocco offers her a job in one of his exclusive places for ladies in waiting. This place is the same as a club where actors and all the high society go, according to Rocco. He tells her that she would earn more money than anywhere else, but Paprika rejects the offer. She does not want to have anything to do with Rocco, knowing that she could end up as bad as her ex-partner. Upon arriving in the new city, Paprika walks from club to club trying to get a job, but it turns out that Rocco has called every place so that no one will hire her. Desperate and not knowing that Rocco has played dirty, Paprika accepts Rocco's offer. Finally she arrives at her new place of work where she meets Mrs. Olympia, the boss of the house, and to her surprise Olympia also has a quality control method that includes sleeping with her girls like Madame Colette. On her first night at her new job, Paprika meets a client who turns out to be none other than her uncle. The man threatens to tell her parents about her new profession. Paprika tells her that there is no need to bother her parents, since she will be there for a few days. However, the uncle blackmails Paprika into sleeping with him daily without paying a cent. Rocco, noticing that Paprika's money is getting less and less, decides to take matters into his own hands, and one day he invites Paprika's uncle to a cafe and gives him a warning. If he doesn't stop bothering the girl, he will have a close encounter with the afterlife. The frightened uncle runs away and never bothers Paprika again. Franco and Paprika are still in contact through letters. They had a good connection. His sweet words and constant interest begin to make Paprika melt with love, to the point that she begins to dream of spending more time with him. She thinks she has accumulated enough money, but she has no idea how to tell Rocco that she doesn't want to be a lady's companion anymore, and she wonders if he will allow her to retire, considering that he is also earning a lot of money. One day a tragedy happens. One of her companions dies from an infection. This event is the final push that Paprika needed to decide to leave this world of danger, but Rocco, instead of being understanding, on the contrary ends up threatening to send her to heaven. Desperate, Paprika seeks help and goes to Mrs. Olympia, who tells her that she can send Rocco to jail without problems, thanks to a policeman friend she has in her network of contacts. Mrs. Olympia recommends that she go to France, and Paprika goes. She begins to live a more or less normal life until one day she runs into Franco, who has now risen to the rank of captain. She is very happy to meet him again, and to catch up they decide to escape to the beach. Between the waves and the sand they end up entangled, full of romance. Franco proposes marriage to her again and promises her a life aboard a new and shiny boat. Paprika, in love, accepts and gives him all her fortune so that Franco can buy his long-awaited boat. To her surprise, the boat purchase ended up being a failure. The man owes a lot of money and the police confiscate it. Unfortunately, Paprika is forced to return to her old profession, but this time in a less renowned house. However, unfortunately for her, the police close the place. Paprika decides that it is time for a change of scenery and moves to Milan, and there she meets a woman who is attracted to girls and introduces herself with the excuse of being a journalist writing an article about life in brothels. Paprika tells her everything she needs to know, both in theory and in practice, and makes sure that the article has a personal touch, and both end up in bed. In an unexpected twist of fate, a millionaire count arrives at the brothel with his son ready to become a man. The young man chooses Paprika. He says that she has the most impressive breasts he has ever seen in his life. Days go by and Paprika receives an invitation to the millionaire count's birthday party, and in the middle of the celebration he proposes to her to marry him. Paprika sees an opportunity to go from lady-in-waiting to lady with a lot of money and glamour. She accepts the marriage proposal. However, it is not long before the count leaves with St. Peter, leaving Paprika with half of his fortune. While checking the mail she finds a letter from Franco. The Italian government decides to close all the brothels in the country. Paprika, upon hearing this news, decides to pay one last visit to Madame Colette and her old colleagues, knowing that the business is about to disappear in the midst of chaos. A man approaches Paprika with the proposal of obtaining a service, but Madame Colette tells him no, and that now Paprika is a countess and a married woman. But Paprika, in an act of epic and generous farewell, decides to open the doors to all the men in the place and offer her services for free all day long. The story ends with a happy Paprika, Plus she and Franco get married and have children, and as a wedding gift she gives Franco the boat he always wanted. Comment and share this video with the Francos you know who don't care where the wife gets the money.